Hi, welcome back to this Halloween edition of Torin Talks. So I actually did the Pottermore quiz and everything, and I'm actually from Slytherin. Like every quiz I've ever done on Harry Potter I'm always House Slytherin. So Halloween is my favorite holiday personally, so I really kind of get into it. Today's video is gonna be basically a Halloween review. We went on Friday and saw Halloween, and it was better than my expectations. My expectations for horror movies have not been really good. I have a very, very high standard when it comes to horror movies, so if it's like trash, then I'm just gonna be like bummed out. And so I don't know what I was expecting from this movie, because I've seen all the previous Halloween movies and a lot of them are not good, but just the character is so iconic, you kind of gotta go see what's going on. So, spoiler alert for anyone who has not seen the Halloween movie. I really do like how they portrayed Michael Myers. He kept that mystery about him. You know, no one really ever knows what's going on in his head. No one ever knows what he's thinking. So that kind of makes him really dangerous, because you don't know his end game, except he's just dishing out brutality. And for a minute, I thought I was watching a Jason movie, the way I don't remember Michael Myers being that brutal, that savage. You know, I feel like all the kind of 80s horror movie, 80s killers all had their own kind of lane. So, you know, like Freddy was more psychological. You know, he was just kind of in your mind.
This is it, Jennifer. Your big break in TV. Welcome to prime time, bitch.
And then Jason was just hardcore savage brutality, just no mercy, just unforgiving, like unstoppable.
Invite only, corn poke, and you weren't invited. Son of a bitch.
Then I felt like Michael Myers was just kind of that terror, you know, like that when you're home alone and oh my gosh, there's someone in here, there's someone watching me. That kind of almost creepy, stalkery kind of vibe. More, you know, more underplayed, not just, you know, just running around kicking heads in the wall, because he was pretty savage in this movie, which I didn't mind. But like I said, I feel Michael Myers works a little better when he's just scary. He's that character that just pops up on you, like you don't know where he came from. You looked in the room, you didn't see anyone, you turn back around, boom, he's there, you're dead. You never knew where he was, like nowhere was safe. So I felt like he was more the creepy stalker type, more than just the savage brute. But, you know, I'll allow it. I really did like the fact that they reintroduced Laurie Strode, which is Jamie Lee Curtis's character. And I do feel like I like this portrayal of her character a little bit better than the Halloween H2O version. I feel like this is more close to what she would be like if she went through some horrifying event with dude in the Halloween mask, you know, trying to murder her. And although in the Halloween H2O movie, she has a son that's played by Josh Hartnett, I could have always kept that, because speaking of 90s nostalgia, in the 90s, Josh Hartnett, late 90s, he was the lick. Faculty, love him. Like, Josh Hartnett was the lick in the 90s, and I was all for him in that movie. So they could have brought him back, they could have kept him as a son, but then it could have just been a redo, like a reboot, but they scrapped that whole thing, and now she has a daughter and a granddaughter, and those characters kind of add to her and detract from her in various ways. I felt the daughter was a strong addition, because she basically raised her like one of those people who have a bomb shelter and they're scared the bomb's gonna go off at any moment, so they have all these crazy provisions and, you know, all this weird stuff, so just in case like something happens, then they're prepared. Like, she's on that survival level, survival man, like, you know, I got my water, got my food, got my guns, like nobody's coming to get me type scenario. And she trained her daughter that way, although the daughter kind of rejected this mentality or this thinking, because she kind of just wants to live a normal life and not have this crazy nut job kind of life. She just wants to be normal, so she kind of shunned her mom and just went off and had a family of her own and tried to make that like the, you know, stereotypical perfect unit, where her mother was trying to prepare her for the real world. So it was kind of like a battle of idealism of the world versus brutality and reality. So she was trying to say, like, the world is not peaches and cream, it's not roses and sunshine, like, it is people out here that will F you up and you need to be ready. And she was like, Mom, the world's not like that, everyone, you know, peace and love, kumbaya, you know, peace, love, collard greens and all that. Until Michael Myers came through wrecking everyone, and then she was like, oh snaps, like, I need to get it together. The granddaughter, I felt she was the weakest character out of the three women. I did like that the women took on more of the lead role and they weren't just being the damsel in distress, although her character kind of was the damsel in distress. And I just really am kind of over that trope. Like, I just really felt like she should have been more wherewithal of like what's going on. Like, okay, if this happened to my grandmother, I would, the first bump in the night I hear, I'd be like, oh, that's him coming to get me. Like, I would not, like, it took her way too long to get to the realization of what was going down. Psycho murderer just got off in my town. That's known. My mother was one of his previous victims that escaped. Yeah, no. It would have been the first available flight, like, out of here. So I just thought that was kind of weird. And just her whole shtick in general, I was just over it. You know, her friend, too. Also, all her friends were idiots. They had this subplot line with her and her boyfriend, and he was meeting the family. They were just kind of using him as an exposition to kind of explain what was going on to the audience. However, I felt like they could have done that with her friend, the blonde that we already had previously met. You could have used her as the exposition board and then left out the little subplot line with the boyfriend, because it honestly wasn't needed and it didn't really make any sense. I did like the fact that Michael Myers and Laurie were kind of foils for each other, and that as much time as he's been in there probably thinking about her, she's been on the outside thinking about him. So in reality, they both been locked up for the last 40 years because she's not functioning. Like, this one event has changed the whole course of her entire life. So she's definitely not thinking in a rational sense. She's thinking in a post-traumatic stress type of scenario. So she's just living the best that she can. And I feel like that was really well portrayed. I also liked that at the end of the movie, it wasn't the same old, you know. It was kind of like a battle of wills. Like, you know, you think you're gonna get me, but I'm gonna get you. So let's see who's gonna win. Michael! And I did love that they took the trope of the woman that's defenseless and helpless, and they just flipped it all around, and it was like, that was the whole trick. Laurie's daughter is kind of down in this basement situation, and Michael Myers is coming to kill her, and she's screaming, crying, acting like she's some helpless little lamb. So he comes in for the kill, and then she's like, yeah, no, got you, bitch. Boom. So, I really did like that, and I liked how they kind of flipped that around. Of course, the ending was ambiguous, so they left it open for a sequel possibly. And I thought overall it was a pretty good movie. I did like it, which is surprising. I thought I was gonna hate it, but I actually thought it was pretty good, pretty alright. If you have seen it, you can comment if you liked it or not. If you haven't seen it, sorry. So yep, that is it for this video. I do have some really cool stuff coming up. I have the part 2 of the discussion that my friend and I started about being a creative and what that means, and just the processes and everything that goes along with that. Part 2 of that series will be up on Saturday. And before this video goes up, I'm gonna do a review of the first Blade movie. It is on Netflix right now, so if you're home tonight on Halloween and you don't have plans, you're not going anywhere cool, stay home and watch Blade. So yeah, and my wand actually is Newt Smander's wand, even though he is from Hufflepuff. It had this little bit of green, and I thought it was cool. I thought the wand was cool. Wish it looked, but maybe I'll do some magic. Is it Spectre Petroleum?